Guys, good Thursday afternoon. My name is Jerry Miller, and welcome to the I Love CVille Show. Thank you kindly for joining us on a gorgeous day to be alive in the Commonwealth of Virginia. If you're above the mud, you have no reason to complain. Just make it happen, guys. Make it happen in life and do what you got to do. Thank you again for joining us on the show. We're live in Charlottesville, across Albemarle County, the Commonwealth, and the world on the I Love CVille Network. We want to give significant props to the good doctor, Scott Wagner of Scott Wagner Integrated Medicine. Dr. Wagner undoubtedly has your back, and folks, the friends at Ting Fiber Internet are powering our show. It is the best internet in Central Virginia, and it's not even close. We were previously with that global conglomerate, Xfinity, and we were having outages all the damn time. Ting, it just doesn't happen with Ting. They are consistent and reliable. Today's show is going to be an impactful one. We see 3 of the 4 news stations or news outlets in Charlottesville watching the show literally as we speak. We're going to talk the Democratic primary. Our crystal ball prediction has come to fruition. The unfortunate aspect of the Democratic primary is the turnout. You're talking a turnout of very low proportions. We're talking roughly 19% of voters in the Democratic primary turned out to vote for somebody. We'll talk about that on the show. I want to have a very frank conversation about a downtown mall beer garden. I left a meeting about this beer garden earlier today. We are closer to a beer garden and the ability to open container walk from the pavilion to the former ice park. A lot closer than we thought. I will give you those details on the I Love CVille show. We have to do something about this empty storefront index that is rising and not getting better. I walked from the pavilion to Code, the Center of Developing Entrepreneurs, the new business that Joffrey Woodruff, the hedge fund titan, owns across the street from the Macklin building. He's going to do Code in the former Ice Park location. I walked from the pavilion to Code, and I easily saw 20 empty storefronts. We have this problem. Get people downtown. If you build it, they will come. Kevin Costner said it in Field of Dreams. Let's get people downtown and watch as the storefronts get full again. To get folks downtown, we have to think creatively, entrepreneurially. We have to consider local government as if it was a small business and not a bureaucracy. Please. First, we're going to talk the Democratic primary results. In fact, before we do, let's shine the camera on Erik right now here. This guy right here is going to join us in about 12 minutes. You got Erik on camera? There's Erik right there. A new dad, Erik.
Yes, sir. About 11, 12 days ago.
12 days ago?
Yep.
Have you slept?
No, a lot of caffeine.
Has your wife slept?
Yes, I made her sleep, but not me.
You're a good man. You're a really good man. A daughter.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Tell me how the tough guy that's jacked and diesel with a daughter, how he became a softie.
Oh, I guess as soon as she was born, it kind of just, we all change when we have kids, it seems like. And it's my first one, so it's slowly changing into becoming, we look big and gruff on the outside, but we're all soft and fluffy on the inside.
We were talking off air, Erik and I'm now crying at Toy Story 2. I'm watching it with my son. I'm getting choked up right now. And I love this little boy so much. And he looks at me and he says, "Daddy, why are you crying?" And I just love him so much. I want to tap into that emotion with Erik today on the show. We'll do a spotlight on the Bend BBQ in Scottsville, a barbecue joint that you guys have to visit, support. They got an extra mouth to feed, and there's nothing they would prefer more than to sell a hell of a lot of barbecue for the next 25 years of our life.
That would be great.
You got a wedding to plan eventually, my friend, and pay for it. All right, before we get to Erik, let's go back to the one-shot J-Dubs, and let's talk the Democratic primary results. So we predicted this. We've been talking about this all year long. Juan Diego Wade and Brian Pinkston out of the Democratic primary. That's exactly what has happened. Juan Diego Wade and Brian Pinkston out of the Democratic primary. And folks, we'll get to your comments on Twitter, on Snapchat, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on TikTok and YouTube. The stuff that's coming in via text and DM, I will get to you. And if you want to give props to Erik, just put it in the feed as well. Folks, Pinkston and Wade dominated this election. And Carl Brown's my boy. Carl Brown's a friend of the program. I've known him longer than any other candidate. I've known Carl for close to 15 years. But when it's all said and done, it's about results, and the proof is in the pudding. And here's the proof that's the pudding. Wade had 4,910 votes last night. Pinkston had 3,601 votes last night. Mr. Carl Brown, friend of the program, had 1,797 votes. Pinkston and Wade dominated this primary. And to put that further into perspective, I'm going to offer you their fundraising numbers. Here are their fundraising numbers. Brian Pinkston, $69,676. Juan Diego Wade, $68,670 raised. Carl Brown, $1,675 raised. So first place is $69K plus. Third place is $68K plus. Third place, $1,675. I hate to say this, I really hate to say this, but money talks. Money talks. And the fundraising showed that Pinkston and Wade were going to dominate this primary. Now these two gentlemen head to the general election where they will face Nakia Walker, the incumbent, and Yaz Washington, an upstart with chutzpah and hustle that we admire quite a bit. She's 23 years old. You know what I was doing at 23 years old? The show would turn into an NC-17 show if I told you what I was doing at 23 years old. I'm not going to go down that route because I would embarrass my wife, and one day my kid is going to watch this program. At 23 years old, I was not running for Charlottesville City Council. Okay? So I give Yaz props just for doing that. Okay? I sincerely mean that. Now, what can we expect from Juan Diego Wade? Well, Juan's entire message is consistency. It's unification. It's no beef. No squabbles, no in-council fighting. Dude has spent 10 plus years on the school board. He understands local government. He's going to try to come into council if he's able to win the general. Now, he only has to come in the top two. And he's going to try to come into council and bring a metronomes-like consistency. He wants to be the same every day. And you know what Brian Pinkston told me one day off air? He says, I want to be the counselor that's on the dais that no one knows his name. Just goes about doing his business, clocking in and clocking out, and doing it the same way every single damn day. And that means a lot to me. I'm a local business owner, a small business owner, okay? My wife actively works in this business. She's literally at home right now with a laptop on her lap, our 3-year-old sitting next to her on the couch. She's managing social media for our clients, trying to keep our 3-year-old from peeing on the carpet. Literally, we're trying to do potty training right now, and that's no easy task. And she's streaming this show, and she will have 8 ways this program can get better when I walk in the door tonight for dinner. Every night at 6:30, I make sure I sit home at the table for dinner with my wife and kid. And it's something that did not necessarily happen with my family because my dad, also an entrepreneur, was grinding 80 hours a week, okay? And seeing my kid and my wife is the best part of my day. And I can't wait to go home and see him today. So Pinkston and Wade come with the tagline of consistency. They come with the tagline of level-headedness. They come with the tagline of, guys, we're not here to make headlines. We just want to run local government and make Charlottesville better. That means a lot to me as a small business owner whose entire family depends on what happens in this building. Now, general election predictions. It pains me to say this, but I'm honest on this show. I think it's going to be Wade and Nakia Walker winning the general election. Never undervalue the name recognition of the incumbent. And Nakia Walker has significant name recognition. More on that as the show and the network progresses. We will get to the comments and the prompts for Erik and BBQ and the Bend BBQ here in a matter of moments. We'll welcome him to the show. Before I do, I'm going to talk about a downtown beer garden that Erik, who's going to come on the show in T-3 minutes, can probably offer tremendous perspective as well. I left a meeting today about a downtown beer garden. Now, what I'd like for you to do, Judah, is get that screenshot, the graphic on screen. I'm going to put a graphic on screen that city staff is dealing with now. The city manager of Charlottesville, Virginia is Chip Boyles. He's got the green light to pursue a beer garden in downtown Charlottesville. He is now in the planning and brainstorming stages of this beer garden. I have been a proponent of this beer garden for 5 years, and I haven't been the only one. Wilson Ritchie, Andy McClure, Mike Rohde at Rapture, right? All these guys have been proponents of the Hunter Smith of the Champion Empire, J.R. Hadley, friend of the program, seasoned entrepreneur, Will Bryant, Paul Byer, Tom Tom Festival, all proponents of a downtown beer garden. Now, people are going to say, hey, why do we need a downtown beer garden? Why do we need this? And I say, why don't we need this? The folks that say no to the beer garden are opposed to change. The folks that embrace the beer garden understand innovation is what you need to remain successful in business. And Judah, what I'd like for you to do, Judah Wickow, our fabulous director, is show the empty storefront index. Roll through the photos of the empty storefronts on the downtown mall or right off the side streets on the mall, including Heather Higher Way, please, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm looking at the photos literally as we speak. Bashir's, empty. The Impeccable Pig, empty. The hardware store where Urban Outfitters was, empty. The Vita Nova space right next to the hardware store, empty. CVille Weekly, the newspaper that's watching the show right now, their newsroom, empty. For lease sign in the window. The bank building, empty. Prime 109, empty. The building next to Miller's, empty. J. Fenton Gifts by Christian's Pizza, empty. Downtown Grill, empty. Fellini's, empty. I mean, I could continue if you'd like, but I think you get my point right now. At least 20% of the downtown mall, including some of Alan Kajine's spots on 4th Street, Heather Higher Way, empty. Draft Tap Room has got white paper over the windows right now. And Draft Tap Room, the money behind that business is Joffrey Woodruff, the QIM hedge fund titan. And they're not even open for business right now. It's paramount that we as a community rally and galvanize around not only the downtown mall, but downtown Scottsville, municipality of Albemarle County, maybe Stonefield, that can't seem to keep a local tenant. Maybe we consider a open container walk around Stonefield concept for Albemarle, right? For Stonefield. We have an opportunity now to reinvent so much of this world coming out of this pandemic. And this mindset of change is scary is going to be the demise of Central Virginia. The mindset's got to be innovate, stay ahead of the game, because we got competition all over. Northern Virginia's competition. Hell, casinos are coming to southwestern Virginia. Did you know a casino is coming 85 minutes away from Charlottesville, right outside Richmond on the Williamsburg side of the capital of the Commonwealth? What's going to happen when the casinos open in southwestern Virginia, northern Virginia, Norfolk and Virginia Beach, and just outside Richmond to the Williamsburg side? Everyone is going to be lured and romanticized by the next shiny thing. They're going to get in their car. They're going to leave here to see what these casinos are about. If Charlottesville, if Albemarle, if Scottsville, if we do not innovate at the same clip that's happening around the Commonwealth, we will not only lose interest, we will lose the incremental revenue that comes from tourists visiting our municipality, and the folks that will suffer are our neighbors, the small business owners who are the backbone of this community. J-Dubs, did you show those photos? Thank you, my friend. Why don't we do this? I want to pick Erik LaFontaine's big, beautiful brain and welcome him to the show. let's get him on a two-shot if we could. First, Erik, if we could get an introduction to you for everyone that's watching.
Well, my name's Erik. I'm born and raised in Esmont, so it's about 30 minutes south, 5 minutes outside of Scottsville. Technically the last farm in the zip code. Lived here on and off for 35 years. Lived out in Denver for 5.5, and was actually living on St. John, the Virgin Islands, for a little over almost a year until the hurricanes came through.
So you got small business ownership in your blood. You got restaurants in your blood.
Yep.
You got managing bars in your blood.
Yes, sir.
Hospitality.
All the above.
In your blood. You own with your wonderful wife, who 12 days ago delivered your first child, a beautiful daughter.
Yes, sir.
And she's watching the show as we speak.
Yep. Make sure I say everything correctly.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. First, how about just an open-ended question?
Okay.
Central Virginia and how it's doing post-COVID from your standpoint.
Oh, that's a rough one. So pre-COVID, I was employed by a major corporation, Airmark, and we were doing that Fifth Street Station project. That was going to help quite a bit to promote Central Virginia. Post-COVID, a lot of things have gone downhill pretty quickly. A lot of entrepreneurs are coming up. You actually did an interview with one of my friends from Vision, Gabrielle.
Yeah.
So you see a lot of people from my industry being more entrepreneur towards getting their own business and starting up. The hard part is now finding those extra funds that we need to keep going. Also, I hate to say it, but those months we had that were either furloughed or let go gave us, from my perspective in the industry, a mental and physical break from working 80, 100 hours a week in, hospitality industry. So it was a good little, what we would call vacation for us, but now it's time for us to hit the ground running, per se.
Tyler Banks giving you props. Rebecca Goulery giving you some props right now.
Yep.
Cinnamon Selenia, I'm sorry if I'm messing up your name. She's giving you some props right now. If you want to put anything in the feed for Erik and give him and his wife some props, just put a comment in there. What do you make of the labor shortage tied to restaurants? What's happening there?
That's a double-edged sword.
Okay.
Because with that extra incentive from the government, it does give us a little extra to stay home with the family that we've been missing because we've worked so many hours. We've had our nose to the grindstone for years of our lives, and we had that 4, 5, 6 months off that we're able to stay home, catch up on stuff that we need to get done. So with that extra incentive from the government ending, it gives a little bit more of a boost for people to get back into the industry. So hopefully the shortage will kind of step back a little bit, and we'll get more service industry people back to where we want them or need them. But with that little extra incentive we have, it's going to be really, really difficult. And people are realizing that they can actually enjoy life now instead of working, the insane hours that we used to.
Is it? I'm confused here, and help me understand. Mm-hmm. Scott Aaronworth in Virginia Beach, I see you watch and you share the show. When you come visit Charlottesville, you got to go to this man and his beautiful wife's barbecue joint in Scottsville. It is dynamite. It is absolutely dynamite. I'm going to throw this to you. Is the labor shortage in F&B tied to folks enjoying unemployment, or is it tied to folks who have reinvented themselves and found a different career? Is it both?
That's a hard question. From my perspective, this is just my personal opinion. Other people might see it differently. It's both. Sometimes with that extra incentive, you are making a little bit more than what you're getting paid. But now I'm seeing more restaurateurs offering higher wages, offering full-time benefits that they never have before, offering PTO. So they are trying to bring these people back to match to what the government was giving them. And then you have people like myself, people like Gabrielle from Vision, reinventing ourselves, trying to go out, being our own business owner, trying to get things going out of necessity and out of love for what we do.
You're getting some props from Liam, the bar manager at James River Brewery.
Yep.
Former
yeah.
bar manager. Liam, I can't wait to saddle up on the other side of the bar with you and have a pint. In fact, we're going to have the brewmaster and the new bar manager of James River Brewery on the show tomorrow, along with Nancy Gill, the one-time mayor of Scottsville. Juanita Hadel is giving you some props on the program. Let's talk your restaurant. Let's talk your barbecue joint. Your wife is the owner?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
So I work for her, or she makes me work, other way.
I work for my wife as well. And one way or another, the husbands work for the wives.
Yep.
No question about it. Let's talk about the business, the who, what, when, where, and why.
Definitely. So when I came back from St. John, we started, we used to do events. So we would go down to Salem and do the huge Highland Games down there. And I decided one year to get a smoker built from a friend out in Earlysville, Travis Maslin, who is a mobile welder. And he had an old 250-gallon diesel tank sitting in the back. And we put together a design, we put it together, and we started doing events. We would go do, I'm a Shriner and a Freemason, so we'd go down to the Shriners Temple, do some events down there, do some pop-up events around Charlottesville and in Charlottesville. And we just decided to, we also do farmers markets as well. So we just decided after COVID happened and I was unemployed, we would just hop into a brick and mortar. We did a pop-up event actually on the downtown mall. Thank you to Patrick McClure.
Yeah,
from
at Citizen Bull Shop.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yep. He supplied the bourbon, which was a amazing bourbon list, and we had it for 2 nights. It ran really, really well. We put all that funds into opening our brick and mortar in Scottsville, and as of now, we're only open on Saturdays and Sundays.
That's amazing.
Yep.
American dream?
Getting there, yeah.
Why do you say it that way? Because it's damn hard?
It's because we want to grow bigger. As of now, my wife still works full-time. I still work full-time during the week. So I'm still working 7 days a week, technically. We want to get to the point where we both can be at the restaurant, at the shop, and run it 5 to 7 days a week. As of now, we can't. Because we still need those funds coming in and the biggest thing is the benefits, especially with the brand new baby. We need the benefits to keep everything going. And finding a spot to actually grow and have the smoker on location, I have to do everything on a commissary off location. So if we find a place like that where we can grow and cook everything on site, that would be amazing. There's one location in Scottsville that would be a great location for it, but we just don't have the investment power right now to pull the trigger on that.
Totally can relate to that.
Yeah.
This business 13 years ago, 13 years old, May 31st.
Okay, wow.
13 years ago, 6 months with no clients. Had to invite my 2 best friends into the small condo that I own to rent 2 rooms from me. If they had not have said yes, I would have defaulted on the mortgage.
Yep.
Literally would have defaulted and lost that place. And then eventually, like you guys are going to find, people admire hard work and they're going to see your vision and you're going to crush it. Your daughter, 11 days old.
Yes, sir.
Talk to me about that.
Well, we kind of found out last October, November-ish. Don't remember the exact same date. Sorry. My wife will probably kill me on that. But we signed a lease for the spot October, November, moving stuff in, and then having a brand new baby on the way and opening a brand new restaurant. Never really a smart idea, but we kind of did it anyway.
So did you find the spot and sign the lease before you found out she was pregnant?
We found the spot before we found out she was pregnant, and then we signed the lease after after we knew.
Respect.
She was almost 3 weeks early, so it was kind of a little early present for us per se. But it was rough starting out, but our opening weekend was downright crazy. We had friends from Roanoke, Richmond.
I see Roanoke watching. Is that your influence right there? That looks like that's your influence right there.
Well, we used to compete my wife and I used to compete in strongman competitions, and we actually used to go around and sell food at those competitions, one mainly in Roanoke, Salem, Richmond. So we have a huge community of those people that love to support us.
Talk to us about the relationship with your wife, what she means to you.
She means a lot to me. She supports everything I do. Even though we get into, spousal arguments, we always bump heads. She's as strong-willed and hard-headed as I am, so we have those disagreements every once in a while, but she always supports in what I do. She came down during our relationship. I actually moved down to St. John to run a resort.
You did long distance?
Yeah.
Dang.
She actually came down for at least a week in December for Christmas to visit me, to see where I was staying, see what I was doing. And then, of course, the hurricanes came, and I moved back, and then we progressed on to there. And we got married September 2019. So, yeah, she means a lot to me. And, with the brand new one, it makes me want to work harder because full-time work, farm work with the family, and running the business.
Harrison Davis giving you some props. Tyler Banks, hello. If you want to give Eric some props, put it in the feed. I will get to the questions of how they smoke their meat. I will get to the questions of pricing, and I will get to the question of expanded hours here. Chef Diana, welcome to the broadcast. You have 6 restaurant owners in Charlottesville watching you here. One of them means a lot to you, and you know who I'm talking about. I'm going to throw this to you. When you saw your little girl come out of your wife, what was going on?
It was kind of like a smack of reality in the face. It's kind of, everything just kind of flowed in at once, combined with the happy tears of grandma was there too, my wife's mother, and then the tears from my wife as well. Kind of, you look at me from the outside, kind of like,
tough guy.
Yeah, it looked like I
wouldn't want to piss you off.
But yeah, it's just kind of like you have something else that you now need to take care of. You don't have an option not to take care of it. You have to do everything you can to make sure she has everything that you want her to have. I mean, my parents did the same thing for me. They made sure I had everything they did not. So it's the same way that I want to raise my daughter as well. Jill
LaFontaine Hurdle?
Yep, that's my aunt.
She's watching the program. Where's she watching?
Pennsylvania.
Hello, Pennsylvania, and welcome to the broadcast. We see 6 states on the program. If you want to give Eric or Corey
Correct.
some props, let us know. We were talking off air, and I talk about this guys a lot on the show. My wife and I, we only have one. He's 3 years and change, so we're like, to use a baseball metaphor, he's like, my wife and I, we're in like rookie ball. We're not even in the major leagues yet. We're not nowhere close to the Hall of Famers, which I would think would be like the grandmas or like the great grandmas. Okay, so we're in rookie ball, like single A ball. And through 3 years and change, people ask all the time, how's it going? And I'm like, parenthood is the best, hardest thing ever.
Yep.
The longest, shortest thing ever. And we were joking off air, like I'm watching Toy Story with my kid and I'm freaking bawling, man. Like I'm freaking like crying watching Toy Story. And Corey, you will love this. When I was talking with your man about you and your daughter before the program, he was getting a little choked up. And it was so obvious to me how much love he had for you guys. Can you put that in perspective?
Yeah, it's like I said before, it's a lot. The industry I grew up in and worked in, you learn to hold everything in, basically.
To survive.
To survive, yeah. I mean, old school kitchens, you have the screaming and yelling and stuff like that, but you hold everything in, and when you have something like that come into your life, it's a whole other kind of unexplanatory meaning to it. So a whole brand new emotions come out. You basically break the wall that you've built around yourself to open up and accept a whole lot more. Luckily, I had practice. I have 3 nieces out in Zion's Crossroads with my brother and his wife. So I had a little bit of practice handling little kids every once in a while. So that with the diaper changing, the bottle feeding, it gave me a little extra step, but I'm still learning a whole lot more that I did not know.
Corey says hello. She's watching. She just put that in the feed. You seem to embody family.
Yeah. So when I was growing up, we had my grandmother and my opa lived on the same farm that I grew up on. So they bought the farm in '74, and my parents raised us in the original farmhouse. And then my mom's sister lived right down the road, about 5 minutes down. They actually still live in Charlottesville as well. So we grew up around family, and then we always went up to New Hampshire to visit my father's family as well, at least once or twice a year. So family is kind of a big thing for us, and then my wife's family is down in Amherst, so they're only 45 minutes away.
You're lucky.
And she has a huge family, so when we had time to go down, she hasn't been able to see him for a year, so we've been trying to, once they got all vaccinated, we were able to hop in the car and drive down and see him.
That's great. We'll get to some comments here that are coming in for you,
Okay.
that are coming in for the barbecue joint. Paige Wilkes, happy to have them in Scottsville, and we will send our James River Runners customers their way all summer long. The ownership of James River Runners, tubing and rafting, right? Terry Banks, this barbecue never disappoints. Come out and support this great business. Ask about their awesome desserts, please. Nakahil Inseong, I'm sorry if I'm messing your name up. I sincerely apologize. She says, woohoo, Eric. Kelly Cutlip, been a great addition to Scottsville, Virginia, Bend BBQ. The flip book of the brand here. So you guys are doing strongman competitions.
Used to. Our bodies got a little screwed up, so we had to take a break, but we still lift.
So when you're serving the food at the strongman competitions, did you see everyone's like, oh my God, this is amazing?
We got really good reviews. Yeah, everybody seemed to love it. We started focusing more on barbecue after like the first year. We did. I have a classical training background. Went to Johnson & Wales and
You did?
Yeah.
Dang, dude.
So
that's legit.
Yeah. A little background on myself. I started food writing with 20 South Catering with Pierce McCluskey.
Oh yeah.
Years ago.
They're legends.
Yeah. Then I worked with Hotcakes.
Barracks Road.
Yeah. Yep. Also worked with the infamous chef Craig Hartman from Barbecue Exchange.
I saw him on Sunday at the Ice House.
Yeah. I worked with him out when he was out at Keswick Hall.
Do you know my homie Curtis Shaver?
Yeah, I know Curtis.
Peloton Station?
Yep, he was my sous chef.
Get out of town! He was one of the groomsmen in my wedding.
Yep.
Curtis Shaver. I'm going to tag Curtis Shaver on this feed right now. Curtis Shaver, we're talking about you. I literally said, we're talking about you with Erik LaFontaine. I just put that in the feed. I literally just put that in the comment section right now. Curtis, get in the broadcast and give us your best Erik story that's PG-13 or lower. All right, keep going.
And then a crazy story about Chef Hartman back when he was the exec chef at Clifton Inn. My parents would always teach us to go eat very high-end food. Like, we would have to dress in suit and ties when we're, 12, 13 years old.
What was the thinking with that? Because my parents, when we were 12, 13 years old, they were like, you can't be seen in public, Jerry, and your brother, Jeffrey. You must have been well better mannered than I was.
To some extent. Mom always had the wooden spoon in her back pocket, so...
Oh, there you go.
But my parents were always in the hospitality industry, so they always wanted us to learn to respect for the F&B and hospitality industry. And they wanted to teach us how to eat... a 5-course dinner, proper serving, proper silverware, proper plating, stuff like that. They wanted that ingrained in our system. So we would always go out to Clifton they did a 6-course meal once a year. And that is how we were taught was, this is how you eat properly, this is the proper silverware, this is how you serve, this is what you're supposed to say when the server brings your food. And every year, Chef Hartman would always warn everybody about us when they came because we would always ask for extras. And we would be the only ones that would walk into the Clifton kitchen asking for the fresh-baked chocolate chip cookies that Chef had hidden back there. But yeah, we've known the Hartmans for years on end. It was great working with them. I actually worked a couple days up at Barbecue Exchange with him. Awesome. And then, of course... one of our famous restaurateurs in Charlottesville, Wilson.
Oh, yeah. Prolific.
Yep. He was my neighbor down at Esmont for a while, down at Red Row.
That was his farm, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I worked with him at Whiskey Jar for a while and Rev Suit for a while. Learned a bunch of great things from him.
Dude, you're a pro. Seriously.
Yeah,
You've been everywhere.
I hop around a lot, yep.
I love that. And now you own it.
I do. I also worked with JR as well at Boylan.
Get out of town.
Yeah, I was part of the original opening crew.
At Boylan Heights? Mm-hmm. You guys were crushing it.
Opening weekend was a little insane.
Yeah, I would imagine. At one time, JR and Boylan Heights had the highest revenue-generating restaurant in the city of Charlottesville, multi-levels, the coolest spot on the UVA quarter. In fact, I just tagged Craig Harbin. I need to tag JR in the mix. Let's get to the props that you're getting here. You're getting props from George Rivera. Great food and business, much needed in Scottsville. Thank you for opening.
Boxing coach.
Is that who it is?
Yep. Wartime fitness.
How about Scottsville and what it means to you?
Scottsville. So Scottsville was the closest town we had to where we grew up. Closest grocery store, closest food that we could get. It has a special place in my heart and my mind because my family and other people have done a lot to help it grow. My mom started the farmers market in Scottsville over 20 years ago. That's where I started selling our jams and our baked goods from our farm.
How old were you?
Oh, geez, 13, 14.
So you guys are just destined to be entrepreneurs.
Yeah, my father took over my mom's father's small business. We actually had a sporting goods store down in Scottsville as well. We did a lot of men's slow pitch softball stuff for them. We did a lot.
Was that on Main Street?
Yep. So it was all the way down towards the end where the crossroads are, right across from where Lucky's gas station is. We used to have it in the old drugstore business.
How do you feel Scottsville's doing now?
It's surviving. We have a lot of small businesses coming in, filling up the empty stores. We have 2 new plant businesses in there, flower shops. One is called We Grow. Another one, we haven't been to that store yet. It's in the old vet building, or right next to the old vet building. We have another small store coming in, and then we're Barefoot Country Store. There's a couple little shops in there. There's a real estate investor in the back. So we have a lot of investment coming into Scottsville. We just need a lot more storefronts. We have quite a bit of empty storefronts still.
How do we figure that out? You got ideas, I can tell. You have a lot of ideas, don't you?
So the one major one I actually talked with Matt Lawless with.
Town manager?
Town manager.
Yeah.
He's been doing a great job since he came in.
And props to Matt for helping set this up.
Yes, very much. I really do appreciate it. After I saw Nancy on, we talked a little bit, and he connected us. One major thing we need down in Scottsville, since we have so many entrepreneurs down there with the farmers market, is we need a community kitchen. We have nowhere that is near us that we could rent out and build. We would have to come into Charlottesville or go down to Goochland.
It's far.
Yeah. And for some people, they can't do that trip. So it would be a whole lot easier for people to drive 2, 3 minutes, 5 minutes away, do all of the baking, and able to get certifications from Department of Agriculture, Department of Health, stuff like that to get their product out there.
We were talking with Nancy, and Nancy Gill was the former mayor of Scottsville. I believe she's on town council.
I believe so, yes.
We were talking about the value proposition of Dr. Hurt's tire plant.
Yeah.
Dr. Hurt, choosing my words carefully right now. Dr. Hurt owns a hell of a lot of real estate in Central Virginia. Mm-hmm. And Dr. Hurt is an influential man because of this real estate portfolio. Dr. Hurt is getting up there in age, and he's got a tire plant, ownership of the tire plant, and has not done much with it. Is that safe to say?
Hasn't done anything with it, technically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything with it. Okay, I'm not speaking out of turn there, right?
Right.
Anything with it. Seems to me that is like uber potential.
It is. It is amazing potential. Rumors go around. I'm not 100% sure on this. There's still asbestos in the building, but I don't know for sure. But that property and that land could be used for a whole lot more. There was discussions years ago about putting a full-fledged campground on there, because the property goes up right up to the railroad track, right up to the river. So it would be a perfect,
like
large
music venue,
large campground. Sick. Yep, use the building for restaurants. There was years ago there was discussion about Piedmont coming in for down there. Now they're at the Yancey Community Center. Right. So there's a lot of opportunity for that area and that property. The only hurdle is trying to get through to Dr. Hurt.
Right. What about like a co-working facility, kind of like a WeWork.
That definitely could. I mean, communications could go in there, community rental spaces.
Or like a dairy market.
A dairy market.
Because we were talking before the show about Wilson's, is it
South and Central?
South and Central?
Yep.
And dairy market. I mean, can you imagine that there?
Oh, yeah, that would be amazing. To bring people in, to give people opportunities. There's a gentleman who actually built me shelves, a vet that built me handmade shelves. If having a woodwork shop somewhere down there to actually, teach people or have people sell goods, stuff like that, bringing in different restaurants, bringing in different bakeries. It would be an amazing opportunity for people to have that in Virginia and in Scottsville.
Andrea Phillips giving you some props right now. Kimberly Pasco, Jerry, I love your show. I did not know about the Bend BBQ. Our family will head there this month to try the barbecue. Can you ask your guest hours? Can you ask your guest what he needs to do to expand his hours and to give us some insight into how the meat is smoked and what's on the menu?
Certainly.
A lot of questions.
So our hours as of now are Saturday 11 to 7 and Sunday 10 to 4. Sunday, the reason why we close early gives me a few hours to go home and spend with the family.
Respect.
So Sundays is usually what we try to do as family dinner. My brother and his family come down to the farm, and we try to have it on either Fridays or Sundays.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's
Is that like 4 generations?
Yeah, and then my grandmother's still alive at Our Lady of Peace. She'll be 99 this year.
Respect.
Yeah.
What are those family dinners like?
Crazy loud and a lot of fun.
What are we having, like food and drink and
everything? My brother and my father are both beer snobs, to say, so they love everything. Every state we drive through, they plan our trips around breweries.
Awesome.
So when
I would get along with your family.
Oh yeah. I was telling you off camera before, my dad started one of the first beer festivals in Albemarle County, which was in Scottsville, when the microbrew thing exploded. He went to Lynchburg, he went to Afton, he tried to get everybody in. It was one of the first small microbrew beer festivals ever held.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
When was that?
Oh God, that was...
So this is No Good Beer Festival before No Good Beer Festival even knew it was going to be called No Good Beer Festival.
Yep. Yeah, he had to let it go because No Good came in. He wanted
True craft.
He wanted to keep it true craft, small and local, but he couldn't compete with the beer festival in Charlottesville.
So how did Scottsville respond to the beer festival?
There, of course, we have a little bit of a Bible Belt down there, so you have some backlash, of course, but we kept so well control of how the intake was of the beer and availability of food that after the event it was very very well appreciated. It brought in a lot of money and everything to Scottsville as well.
This question's coming in from Twitter. Jerry, love the interview with this guest. Ask him what it's like to work with his wife, because I know you do it and you know I do it. And that's from Jim Stevenson.
It has its ups and downs. I mean, we are...
Yes, it does.
Yep. So the main time we really work together is on Saturdays. Of course, she's been taken off because of the pregnancy and the birth. So we actually have a family friend, we consider a family, Tyler Banks, who's been coming in and help us out on Saturdays. We get along really well, except on big events. Of course, when we have when we have a 1,200 person event, like Green Hill Highland Games, it's just us two, and we push out
2 people doing 1,200 covers. Mm-hmm. Get out of town. How do you do that?
A lot of caffeine.
Yeah, dude. 2 people?
Yeah.
So is she running customer interaction and expoing?
Yep. So we just basically set up like a buffet line.
Okay.
So I keep everything hot on the smoker. She rings everybody up, writes me a ticket. I plate it up, hand it right to them.
Man, if you can do that, you can do brick and mortar restaurant easy, right?
Yeah, it gets that way. Yeah. We sell out. Our goal is to sell out every weekend. That's kind of our, I hate to say, stimulus with the health department, since I have to cook everything off site. I can't cook anything on site.
Huh. How come?
It's just I don't have the proper area to do it. I have the kitchen area and everything. but I don't have the proper area to have my smoker on site. And I do everything on my smoker.
Okay.
And if I had a spot to do my smoker on site, I wouldn't need a second kitchen.
This one's coming in via LinkedIn. Jerry, bring up the Craig Hartman family tree with Erik, please. The chef family tree.
Chef family tree.
There's a ton. I mean, Christian Kelly is part of that family tree, co-owner of Maya.
Yep.
Curtis Shaver, Peloton Station, previously of Hamilton's fame.
Yep.
Erik LaFontaine of the Bend BBQ, boys and girls. Who else is in that family tree?
Oh, man. Who else worked with Chef?
Dean Maupin, I believe.
Yeah, Dean Maupin.
At Clifton?
Clifton, yep.
Yeah. The guy that is now at the Wool Factory.
Yes, he works with Chef Devin Murray as well.
That's right. Tucker Yoder.
Tucker, yep.
Yeah. I mean, is he the quintessential chef? I mean, you got a classically trained chef in Hartman who's now doing the BBQ Exchange, the Ice House, and is about to open a distillery in Gordonsville. I mean, he's Mr. Gordonsville like you're Mr. Scottsville.
Yeah, and you also have Chef John Micklejohn with him as well. He used to run Rev Soup for Wilson.
That's right.
So you have the lineage of people that work with Chef Hartman. It's probably a whole lot more than we've named. He was the infamous chef of Albemarle County for a long time.
What makes him so talented and special? He's a nice dude.
Oh, he's amazing.
He catered to our wedding.
Oh, really?
Jacqueline and BBQ Exchange catered our wedding, and it was dynamite.
Yeah, he. I don't know where he gets it from. He just has that fire in his heart that makes him really amazing at what he does. A lot of us just we look at different things, how we can experiment it, how we want to cook it, how we want it done, or how we want it plated, and we just do it how we want it and hope everybody enjoys it. And Chef is just really amazing at doing that.
This is the beautiful thing about social media here. Diana Sabatri?
Yep, I used to work with her over at Heirloom.
She says, we cooked together at The Graduate. I gave him the job based on the jerky he brought me as a tasting. Jerry, get him to give you some sample jerky. The man knocks it out the park, and Erik rocks. Tell me about the jerky, dude.
Social
media, when used for the good and not to divide the country, that's what's happening here.
I started experimenting around with chicken jerky, beef jerky, because we have grass-fed beef on our farm as well. And I played around with tofu as well. And when
and tofu?
Yeah.
Okay.
I love tofu. Actually, if it's cooked right, it tastes really good.
Okay.
So there's different ways you can do it. I'm still experimenting with trying to smoke it. So hopefully at some point down the road, I'll be able to have a smoked tofu on the menu to make people in Yogaville happy.
Very nice.
But the jerky I brought in for Chef Diane, oh man, that was years ago.
How long ago was that? This is The Graduate on the corner, right?
Correct.
That's a dope hotel.
Yeah, that was right after they turned over from Red Roof.
Okay.
So that was...
So like complete 180.
Yep.
And you go in there to help the 180 happen?
No, right after.
Okay.
So I moved over from Whiskey Jar to The Graduate. I wanted to expand my knowledge a little bit more in doing more fine dining, which they were heading towards. And I brought in homemade jam, homemade jerky, and what they had me cook on site for a interview, so our working interview, which was a...
Your interview was cook in the interview?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Is that normal?
In our industry, most of the time, yeah, 90% of the time.
Dude, that's pressure. I guess that's what the business is.
Yeah, so you have a talk interview first, and then a lot of times the chefs want to see what you can come up with on
the fly?
On the fly.
Get out. So David Eddy Jr., he says, Esmont, born and raised, did everything in Scottsville, going to IGA and playing baseball and basketball, childhood memories.
Yep.
Dude, how about the intimacy and the charm and the family and the network that is Scottsville? It's good and a bad thing, right?
No. It's
all good?
Yeah, it's all good.
Okay.
Some people might have some bad things to say, but it is what it is. You always get that in towns. Between Esmont and Scottsville, my dad coached basketball down in Scottsville. We did. We went out and played at Cove Creek when Mr. Grisham opened up the park the first time.
Yeah.
So we had a bunch of people come out from there. I played T-ball and baseball with Eli Cook. years
The
ago.
musician?
Yeah, before
Yeah.
he started playing guitar.
Okay.
So there's a bunch of guys from that area and families from that area that we have good connections with. My dad, of course, and my mom always tried to support local community. My dad was the head runner of Streetscapes for Scottsville, getting the whole downtown kind of reformed, the lampposts and sidewalks redone. So there's a lot of good memories, a lot of good people that we have connections with.
Jay-Z Kirby has this comment. Jay-Z says, I'm glad to see them being so successful. Scottsville is starving for some different choices in food. When we set up our mobile food unit, Bootleg Tex-Mex Fusion in Scottsville, we got an overwhelming turnout. I would love to get a weekly food truck day started down there. With Erik's Barbecue involved, it would be a huge success. Do you hear me, Matt? Nudge, nudge, nudge. Jay-Z Kirby, what do you think of that?
Yeah, he's a great guy.
You know Jay-Z?
Yep.
Yeah.
He has a great turnout for his Tex-Mex food truck. He did it up at the fire station one time, and then downtown. Local people love to support local food. He also has a restaurant equipment store that he's been pushing around. But yeah, he has some really good stuff, and that would be an amazing idea if we can get that going. Do it like a separate day of the farmers market during the summer, do it on like a Sunday or something like that.
Neil Williamson, Free Enterprise Forum is watching. Alex Erpy, hello. CVille Weekly, Daily Progress, NBC 29, CBS 19. Welcome to the broadcast. Devin Murray, Erik, my dude. This guy is the man. That is from Devin Murray right now watching the broadcast. What do we want to see from your restaurant? What's the evolution?
The evolution is hopefully expanding the menu. We've been slowly adding things. I'm actually getting our labels certified from Department of Agriculture for our homemade jams.
Nice.
That we grow everything on our farm in Esmont, pick it and puree it and do all the jams ourselves. So we're working, I just got an email back from the Department of Agriculture to fix a few things on the labels. And we will have that in our storefront as well. We actually have our own custom coffee blend.
Get out!
From Two Labs Coffee in Palmyra. So they do that for us as well.
That is, dude, so you guys embody, like, innovate. Yeah, constantly.
Yep.
I mean, dude, and how about this question to you, like, small business owner.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not innovating, you're
failing, basically. I mean, you're not growing if you're not doing something unique. Like for Father's Day's weekend, I am picking up almost 20 pounds of grass-fed beef short ribs from a vendor at the farmer's market that I've known for years. We will have smoked beef short ribs for special on Father's Day weekend. If you don't do something somebody hasn't seen, you won't grow. Every Sunday, I do my own smoked and cured homemade lox. I do that from scratch.
Get out. What is Father's Day going to mean to you this time?
It's going to be a little different, honestly. It's going to be a whole lot more special. It's going to get better and better from here on out. I like seeing my dad and my brother celebrate Father's Day because, it's my brother has 3 little girls, and then of course my dad and his father's still alive as well up in New Hampshire. So I'm going to be in that lineage now to celebrate Father's Day now.
Al Rock, welcome to the broadcast. Giving you some props here. If you want to give Erik some praise or props, and I see the comments on Twitter and on Instagram and on LinkedIn and Snapchat. I will get to those in a matter of moments, guys. Anything you want to offer to the chef, to the businessman, to the father, to the husband, put it in the feed. The beer garden concept. I just left a meeting over at City Hall here. Mm-hmm. The concept that we've been, and you obviously are passionate about and have seen executed before, is you got 20% empty storefronts in the downtown mall. You got a couple empty storefronts in downtown Scottsville.
Yep.
We got to figure out a way to get customers to come downtown. Mm-hmm. If we can get customers to come back downtown, then the storefronts will start getting full.
Right.
On top of that, if we do this beer garden concept, you could have bracelets being sold $5 a bracelet. Mm-hmm. This bracelet's like just the bracelet you get in to go to like a concert venue, if you may. You get a $15 an hour employee checking IDs in the center of downtown mall, handing out bracelets for $5.
Yep.
And then people put the bracelet on, they go see Wilson, they go see Hunter at Passiflora, they get drinks and they can walk up and down the mall. To me, it seems like a no-brainer, especially since we have this open container. No, it's not open container, it's cocktails to go.
Yep.
That's already been allowed by the ABC. So the open container walking on the mall is the next step from cocktails to go. I mean, anywhere you want to go on this topic.
Yeah. So back to the Airmark project at Fish Street. Fish Street Station, we learned when we were filing for an ABC license, you were allowed to walk out of a restaurant onto the sidewalk. You couldn't go into the parking lot, but onto the sidewalk and walk with an open container on that sidewalk anywhere you wanted to go. Like, for instance, you can walk out of the pub of Wagner's with an open beer and walk down the sidewalk to Dick's Sporting Goods.
Okay.
Or walk out of
the movie theater?
If you wanted to. As long as you stayed on the sidewalk, it was fine. To have open container, like your production manager brought up off camera, Savannah does it. We were down in Savannah a couple years ago. They had it very under control. They're allowed to do it. It seems if we do it correctly and we keep it in control, of course, there's always going to be a couple bad apples that are going to, throw in a couple spikes to the rotary. But if we keep it to the limit and under control, it would be a great profit and great income for Charlottesville and for our local businesses.
Why not done already? Be honest. I know you're choosing your words carefully.
I am. So open honesty, there's probably a lot of feedback from, it's kind of like bringing in those gas stations that have the banners. There's a lot of restrictions from Charlottesville that might not allow it. We are slowly seeing that change, which is great and good for the community. We just need to push it a little bit further. There's probably going to be feedback from the older generation of Charlottesville saying it probably won't work, it's going to be dangerous. Of course, you're going to have pushback from some religious groups that might not like it, might not allow it. But if it grows our community the right way, grows our economic standard the right way, and grows our businesses the right way, it will be a good thing for Charlottesville.
I agree. Cheers VA, the massive Facebook page, is watching the show right now. Cheers VA says, well done, helping Scottsville grow. Eric and Corey, looking forward to checking you all out very, very soon. Cheers VA covers everything wine, drink, and food related in the Commonwealth. We love what you guys do with that brand as well. The impact, this question's coming in via LinkedIn. Jerry, can you ask your guest the impact James River Brewery had on Scottsville?
It had a great impact. So it started off years ago with the original brewers and original owners, and then it changed hands. There was that little downfall in that area of changing hands, but it's coming back up. The beer's really good. The people are really good. I call it like Cheers. You walk in, everybody knows who you are. I'm part of the Mug Club down there. I suggest a lot of local business owners come and do that, because it brings you into, community. It shows you around that you're supporting local businesses. When I have a chance, I'll go down and have a beer after shift. But most of the time I try to head straight home now.
Yeah, you have a kid.
Right.
Yeah.
But back when Liam was bar manager there, it was great. They have live music out back in the beer garden. They do a really, really good job.
Tomorrow on the I Love CVille show, Nancy Gill, Lou from James River Brewery,
Yep.
and Blake Sherman
Okay.
in studio. And they're bringing me some IPAs, and that's one way to my heart, is to give me some IPAs,
They
guys.
got some really good IPAs. Their Double Dunkel's amazing. The lagers.
Oh,
Really
James
good.
River Brewery's watching you on the show. Hello, James River Brewery.
Their whole list is really good. Their seltzers were good when they had them, and they started canning, so you can go in and buy a 6-pack if you want.
Let's throw this to you. I'm torn on this. I'm not torn on this. I think this is a no-brainer, but like the folks that I speak to around Scottsville seem to be almost torn on the influence or the welcoming of Charlottesville and Central Virginia to Scottsville. Now, so many of the businesses on Main Street are like, bring it, bring it, bring it. Mm-hmm. We need customers. But it seems like some folks are anti like Charlottesville and the surrounding areas coming to Scottsville. Is that safe?
So from my perspective of my family, I'm only the true Virginian in the family, born and raised. My dad's from a small town in New Hampshire, and my mom's from upstate New Jersey. To give a little backstory on that, when they first moved down here, a local guy said to him, we don't mind them Yankees, but we hate them damn Yankees. Speaking about people from the tri-state, people from up north in the country.
Yeah, damn Yankees don't leave.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's still that mindset that's around here. A lot of people don't want to see a small town lose their small town feel. which is completely understandable. We don't want to lose that small town feel. But we want people to come in and see the original seat of Albemarle County. So Scottsville was the original seat of Albemarle County before Charlottesville and anything else. So we want to grow the income. We want to grow the businesses. We want, we don't want to lose any more businesses. We want to grow the river tour businesses. We want that business, but it's that really hard double-edged sword. We want more income. We want more people to come down, but we don't want to lose that small town feel.
This via Twitter. Jerry, please ask Erik the impact of James River runners during the summer and when the summer is not happening and how the town gets a little bit more sleepy.
So the river business, of course, is going to boom. It helps every business in Scottsville, especially when especially when you get to know the owners of the business.
And she's watching.
Oh,
is that Paige?
Paige or Ashley?
Paige is watching.
Paige.
Is that owner?
I have to look. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But James River Runners and then Reeling and Rafting as well.
Okay.
So there's two businesses down there. Both of them do amazing jobs. But once you get to know everybody that used to work there, we had friends when we were growing up. We would they would go work there over the summer. The river businesses bring in major business to Scottsville. So it helps all business grow, helps the brewery grow, helps my business grow. We opened up during the winter-fall era, which was a little bit slower, and now we're getting into the busy part. So we are really happy that we have those connections, and they send a lot of people towards us.
Luana Hicks?
Luann? Yep.
Luann Hicks? Sorry, Luann. Great interview. The Bend BBQ is phenomenal. Cheers to Scottsville. She's watching the program. This is an interesting question. Jerry, can you ask the guest if it's way more affordable to live in Scottsville than around here in Charlottesville? I can barely afford my rent these days.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't be able to afford to live in Charlottesville. Not anymore. Of course, when I was growing up, I was able to, I was working on UVA corner in bars and restaurants, and I was able to afford it. But I can't even afford, myself and my wife probably could not even afford a two-room apartment in Charlottesville right now.
In Scottsville?
In Scottsville, you can, if you can find it, it's affordable.
So is the concern the supply is just not there?
Right. There's a lot of land for sale, and that concerns a lot of people because construction companies are looking at it. Land developers are looking at it, bring apartment complexes in.
How do you feel about that? I mean, you get more customers that way.
You get more customers that way, but then you start to look like outside of Nova.
Fredericksburg,
Arlington, stuff like that. You get to have that feel. The growth is, you can't stop it. It's going to happen at some point. But we just have to grow with it and hopefully not have it right away. So yeah, it's going to be, it's that balancing act that you need.
What's the balancing act? The strategic, what is it? Strategic growth?
Yeah, that would be the term for it.
So what is strategic growth in your mind?
Helping a community grow, but not explode all at once. So slowly bring in businesses that will help, locals find jobs, help the local income, help the local government. Like the DMV's bringing in a substation to our town hall in Scottsville. So that's going to help with employment, help with growth. That's going to bring in a whole lot more customers. That's a slow growth. That's something that we need. Having land developers put in apartment complexes, that's going to be probably something that it's going to be way too much all at once. And I hate to say it, but it would increase my land value, but it would not make us happy. It would lose our, we have views of the Blue Ridge Mountains when our leaves are off the trees. We would lose that small town feel.
Jonathan says, Jerry, I live in Scottsville. We can't have growth and development until the infrastructure is there to support it. We need 20 to improve before we can ask Charlottesville and beyond to come to our town. Please bring these topics up with Erik.
20 is, I agree with him, 20 is a very dangerous road. There's been multiple accidents in the past few weeks. If you grew up driving it, you're comfortable driving it. It's like driving 20 north. There's multiple ways getting into Scottsville. You got 15 to 6, and then 29 to 6 as well, and of course coming over from Buckingham and the bridge. The improvements to the road, yes, I completely agree. It needs to be done. I don't know how they're going to go about it because the way 20 flows, it follows the river.
Right.
So it's going to be really hard to make it wider, add an extra lane or two.
I mean, you'd almost have to like take over some of the land on the farms.
That's what probably would have to happen.
And go 4 lanes, right?
Yeah.
You think that would happen? Anytime soon?
Not anytime soon, though.
Here's an interesting topic. How about your daughter growing up in the family business? You thought about that? She's probably doing it already a little bit.
Yeah. So I cook at home. My wife cooks at home as well. Of course, my mother always. That's how I learned how to cook. Was my mother, my grandfather, and my grandmother. My family actually goes all the way back. My opa's mother was a chef at a naval base in Germany. So our culinary history goes back a long time. But growing up in the business, my mom gave us a warning: don't ever go in the food and beverage business because it's going to run you into the ground. But both my brother and I ended up in it.
Yeah.
My brother was general manager of Mellow Mushroom for almost 12 years.
For Andrew?
Yep.
Awesome.
So he did that. And of course, I've been bouncing back and forth between every restaurant I can get my hands into. For her growing up into it, I'm going to try. I'm not going to push her into it. I want her to make her own decisions of what she wants to do. If she doesn't want to do the business, fine and dandy. Do whatever she wants to make herself happy.
That's how I feel about Trey, our son. Anything that he wants to do where his passion becomes his profession is something I support.
Yep.
Because being able to go into work and do what you love is such a gift. And you embody that. I mean, you like clearly love what you do. Now, that's not to say like not all days, sometimes life can really suck.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we love what we do.
Yep.
And that allows us to continue to keep innovating and changing. Dude, you are amazing human. How about one more time? Let's get some props to the restaurant. Let's get some people there. How do we find you? Where do we go? Tell us about the menu, everything.
Definitely. So how I tell people where we are, we're exactly 2 doors down from the brewery. Okay. I had a metal sign up on the wall, but we had 30-mile-per-hour winds, and it got ripped off, so I got to put that back up. We have a giant red banner in the window that says the Bend BBQ. Okay. Small little shop. We're only 800 square foot, so we only have 2 seats inside and 2 seats outside. Menu changes. Our consistent items on the menu is we do a pin pork, so it's homemade pimento cheese. We get smoked garlic from the farmer's market, which is grown over in Buckingham, and we put that inside of our homemade pimento cheese. We do 2 ounces of that on top of our pulled pork.
That sounds amazing.
Is
that your number one?
Some days, it depends. Our number one is our regular pulled pork sandwich. Okay. And then we have... Sauces, we do bourbon brown sugar, Alabama white, Carolina vinegar, and then we have an Osriel, which is extremely hot. That is seasonal. I'm waiting for more peppers from Nelson County to come in so I can make more, but it has 7 different kinds of hot peppers in it. So if you like a burner, yeah. I can probably bring you some. Okay. But it has great flavor to it. The base of that is our bourbon brown sugar. Then added in is the hot peppers as well.
That is amazing. You're an awesome dude. I wish you guys, like, seriously, the best of luck. My family and I will come and patronize your business and try the food. You send us some pics. We'll get it up on
Definitely.
I Love CVille. Message to your wife? Mm-hmm. You want to give one?
Well, I wish she could have joined us, but I know she's home taking care of her daughter, which is most important right now. So I'm happy that she's able to watch and support that way and give love to our daughter as well at the same time.
Well said. I enjoyed getting to know you.
Thank you for having us for the interview.
It was absolutely our pleasure, guys. The Bend BBQ guys in Scottsville, support them. Get out there and help this business blow up. And I'm committed to this message constantly on this show. Supporting the local businesses in the community is how the community is going to get better for all of us. It's the local businesses that are hiring the folks in the community and keeping the money within the community. It's the businesses that aren't local that are bringing people from outside the area, right? So let's keep it local in Charlottesville, in Albemarle, in Scottsville, and in Central Virginia, please. Tomorrow we'll spotlight the brewery, James River Brewery, Nancy Gill for her third rodeo. We're also going to have Blake Sherman, the brewmaster, in-house. They're bringing me some cold beverages, and I can't wait for tomorrow's program because I love cold beverages, as you guys probably have already realized. This is the I Love CVille Show, where we try to showcase the best, not only of Charlottesville, not only Albemarle, but of Central Virginia. Thank you kindly for joining us on a beautiful day to be alive. Take care. Dude, you crushed it.
I appreciate it.
Oh.